Hey everyone, thanks for waiting for our short delays there, and sorry about the monkey. He keeps sneaking his way into all of our streams, so don't apologize for the monkey. Okay, fine. I'm not sorry for the monkey then. Deal with monkey. Anyway, welcome to the Unreal Engine Twitch live stream that we've put on every week for you guys. We got our good friends from MartianCraft here. We got Rob, Thomas, and Jeff. We're going to talk over their cool game, Public Sniper, and their company and kind of what they're all about. So with that, let's hop over to the news. We got a few awesome things to cover today. Shelly? Awesome. So marketplace release. Each week we try to get more content out to you guys through the marketplace, and as always, we did it again. So you can come through here on our website and read through John's blog. He goes into in depth about a lot of the things as he normally does. We're just going to hop on down here and highlight the things. So animation, we got Pistol Anim Set Pro by Kubold. Another great pack from that dude. Zombie 2 Crawler by T-Pose. Clever name for a character artist. Nature Package by Silver TM. And European Furniture by Tim B. Bow. So it looks like. Sometimes I have a lot of trouble pronouncing like that. Are you Tim Bow or Tim B? Anyway, sorry. I'm ranting. And Impromptu Procedural Ladders by Impromptu Games. You may have seen those on the stream a couple weeks ago. Really cool sets here in both these blueprints. Modular Player Structures by Tillman Hubner. So really cool tools for building things in your games. So those should be available now via the launcher. You can pull them down and check them out. All right, so Unreal Engine 4.7 preview release. We are on preview number 5. It should have dropped, I believe, yesterday. And I just wanted to point this out. Steven's got a really great thread running right now on the forums. It's in announcements and releases. Should be kind of top and center. That goes through the summary of what's available in 4.7, new features in Preview 5, known issues in Preview 5, reported 4.4.7, completely known issues, things like that. Stuff we've already found. So this is a really great repository. Just want to point out again, if you're experiencing a specific crash with the engine, you can come in here and kind of see if we already know about it, when it might come through in a fix. So yeah, definitely check that out. Also, since Steven is so rad, I wanted to point out that he is now on Twitter. So Steven just joined Twitter, and he is really awesome. So you should follow him. He is at the Epic Steven. Yeah, I just follow him around the building normally, but you can follow him around virtually online. So here we go. Yeah, I know. Bad jokes. Sorry, y'all. Oh, sorry, Thomas. I forgot. I'm waiting on you for all the dad jokes, right?
I'm the dad joke guy.
Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. Sorry, Thomas. I hope you forgive me. All right. So some learning resources updates. We've got a new networking section added to the gameplay guide. So if you roll all the way down here to the bottom, there's some new networking jazz. You can check out what we've added in there. And on top of that, there are brand new docs for online session nodes for blueprint networking. So you can come through and check out all of that stuff here. All of these links will be provided at the end. So we'll have them in the YouTube archive. I'll try to drop them in the stream after we get through the news too. So if you're interested in those right now, you can check them out. So I wanted to point out that Jeff Wilson's post, Alan Willard's stream on the creating a twin stick shooter is now up on YouTube. So if you missed it on Tuesday, it was really great, about an 1.5-hour session where Alan went through and teaches you how to make like a top-down shooter, like space type game that he built a few months ago. There's a lot of really good content in there. This project should be coming to Learn tab at some point in the future, but feel free to go on there and check it out. There's lots of really good information in there. Alan is just great. And with that, I wanted to reiterate the cadence of our Twitch streams, that every Tuesday we do have either a support or a training stream. Support streams are more question and answers with our engineers or subject matter experts, and the training streams are all like this one where we go through an entire video series, or an entire video, we go through an entire project, record the video, make the video and the project available later as a learning resource through the Learn tab. So the next one of these will be in 2 weeks. So cool. I can't talk at all today.
That's all right. I'll make you feel better.
Okay, cool. All right, so everyone's favorite game jams are back for February. So we are going to kick it off next week on the stream, February 12th. I don't know exactly what else is going to happen on that stream yet, so I can't really give you any other details, but there will be a game jam kicked off next week, February 12th. So look out for that. As usual, everybody that participates gets a 1-month subscription to Unreal Engine. The 3 top pick get 3 months Unreal subscription. By the way, winners from last jam, I'm still getting y'all's codes out. We've been a little behind changing over some things in our emailing system, so you should be getting those sometime before the end of the week. So wanted to point that out. And then let's see, I think that's oh yeah, with those as well. So there's also a shirt with these. We're giving out T-shirts, special Game Jam T-shirts to all the winners, and we've been saying that since October. The design has been kind of in flux between a couple of different people at Epic. So there's a lot of different moving parts here, and we're going to be turning over the design into a contest for the community to kind of see who can come up with the best Game Jam T-shirt, and that'll be the one that we actually take and print on our shirts for winners past, present, and future. So look out for that. I'll have a post up about it soon, and then we'll kick that off. It shouldn't be too terribly long of a contest because we really want to get some of these backfilled shirts out to the guys from October, November, December. January before we move into February. So sorry about that, guys. We're just a little behind on that. So thanks for your patience and thanks for being awesome. All right, with that, let's move over to Community Spotlight. So unless you've been living under a rock and avoided the internet entirely, you've probably seen this Unreal Paris video from Benoit Dureau and let's see, and Maël Vigneault. So you know, we're really big fans of a lot of the things people are doing in the architectural visualization space with Unreal 4, just real-time rendering of just, I guess, super hyper-realistic scenes. And this one is just one of the most stellar things I've seen rendered in the engine so far. And this isn't like, you know, fly through cinematic. He's actually just walking around, you know, with WAS controls. You can kind of see with some of those jitters. It's just, you know, him moving the mouse and looking. So really cool stuff. I can't remember how many million views this has already had on its
insane
on its channels all over the place, but super awesome work.
No kids live in that house.
Yes, clearly. Yeah, I don't think any kids live in any ArcViz house that I've seen. Like
that's the next level of realistic visualization. You have kids running around, drawing on the floors.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. That's what VR is basically going to be, a way that we can go to a place that nothing gets dirty. So just throwing a DK.
Zen garden.
Yeah, just throwing a DK2 and just live here where no one has to clean up the counters, the dishes are done, everything's super shiny. Anyway, super cool stuff from these guys. I'm going to skip ahead to this bathroom here, so it's kind of a longer video, but really excellent range of skill here too with different lighting. I mean, this room looks, it's lit very differently, but feels just as good. I mean, I love this.
The mirrors, that's insane.
Yeah. I mean, our player character has no reflection, so he must be a vampire, but other than that, gosh, just stunning work. Anyway, so these guys have got, let's see, Benoit has posted this to our forum, so feel free to hop in and say what you think. You can say hello and get some better screenshots. He's got his portfolio and some other things on here, other credits as well. So feel free to hop in and give that dude a virtual high five. That's good stuff. All right, so second one we got here is called, do we have sound, Shelly? Awesome, great. So I want to make sure we're good here. This is Death God University by Green Ice Games. And it sucks that you guys can't hear the sound of this, but it's really cool game. I mean, it's just really bizarre.
I'm in Tacos.
Yeah.
Tacos is weapons.
Well, Tacos just hit this dude and knocked him off a building. And so, okay, the idea behind Death God University is like this kind of twisted humor game where you're basically going to the school to learn how to be a death god. So you have to go collect the souls of others. And so you have to set up scenarios in which people, well, I guess you make them die. So there's all kinds of just really bizarre stuff in this video. There's
great
just
game for the kids.
Super awesome. I know. It's just really cool. Tons of character. I mean, like, just Yeah, and there's like the whole like you can see these little captions are like tongue-in-cheek on school, or must have a good attitude, must play well with others, problem-solving skill. So I don't know. I just love this video so much.
Again with the tacos, and then
yeah, Captain Taco is
Death
all
by
in.
Taco. you had me at lethal taco.
And it's so it's inspired by Monkey Island or other point-and-click adventure type games. So I'm really curious to see how that plays into all of this.
Looks like it's a crafting suit.
Yeah. Anyway, these guys are already greenlit on Steam. It just got surfaced to us very recently. This isn't one that or at least myself, I haven't had like a really nice hand on this project and knowing where it's been or where it's come from. It's super cool. So I think that here's the thread if I can find it. Yeah. So they just dropped this into the. I lost it already. Here we go. Yeah, this is our first post on our forums. They just came and dropped it into our work in progress, or what are you working on thread from Tom Lumen. Thanks again, Tom. So are we good? Yeah, okay, so let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, here's their Steam Greenlight that's got that same video and some other information about it. All right, and let's see. Okay, so the third one we got up today for Community Spotlight is Overdosed: A Trip to Hell demo trailer. 60 frames per second. I don't know why I read the entire description. It just felt normal. All right, so Lazy Games has been really active on their Twitter showing the progress of this game, and it's just chaotic, just top-down shooting. You aim with the mouse and you move with your keyboard. It's kind of like Hotline Miami meets hell. It just looks so intense to me, right?
Wouldn't
like
that just be Hotline Miami?
Kinda, yeah, but this is way more intense. Hotline Miami is really slow-paced-ish. You have to think about walking in a corner and do stuff. This is just mayhem, and it's wave by wave. So like you finish, you buy little tower defense type stuff, where you drop turrets or little bombs and traps. And yeah, alpha demo out now. You can actually download it and play it.
I love the flamethrower there.
Yeah,
that would do well. That would do well with our guys.
Yeah, this right here.
A lot of pyro maniacs in our company.
Yeah. So super cool. Apparently you're on an acid trip, and that's seriously the premise of the game. It's just like, okay.
Start seeing giant bugs.
Yeah.
Stop doing it.
Anyway, they're planning to have 3 full themes, 5 zones each, so or 5 levels each. So each level gets harder and harder and harder. And you kind of make it to the end.
I really hope they do a rainbow zone.
Yeah, it's like Rainbow Road. Yeah, kind of the greatest thing ever. Anyway, so this is Lazy Games. These guys have been, like I said, extremely active on their Twitter. It's at Lazy Games, and you can check out cool stuff there. Actually, this might not be it. Yeah, it might be a different Lazy Games. That's a different logo. Cool. I'll find the real one later and post it after the fact. But cool. So that's what we got for a community spotlight. Really cool stuff. Thanks, guys, for being just incredible. So with that, we'll flip it over to the MartianCraft guys. So. Hi. Welcome to Epic.
Thanks.
Yeah. So let's tell us a little bit about MartianCraft. I mean, like.
Well, we're a consulting company primarily, mostly mobile development. We work on most of the mobile platforms, Android, iOS. We do a little bit of Mac work. We were started by Mac developers of old. So Jeff and I and our other 2 founders were Mac developers for years.
Gotcha.
And we're always trying to, find a way to get into the business, find a way to make a living, and no one wanted Mac developers, and then the iPhone ships, and all of a sudden everybody wants Mac developers, and so we kind of got into with that. We worked for a couple years to kind of get the company going, and then Jeff and I just kind of said, we're at a stable place. Let's start doing something fun. What do we enjoy? And a lot of people know Jeff as an author and as a writer, and we kind of both have writing backgrounds. And
it's interesting. I was telling Jeff earlier, it's like I used to read his blog and some of his books way back in the day. Like,
yeah.
Really cool stuff.
So we always wanted to get back to that kind of storytelling. And I mean, if you've ever read, not to make Jeff blush, but I mean, his books were great because they took you on a story. You weren't just developing. There was, you were building something, and you felt like it was this, this narrative behind it. And so we always wanted to find a way to get into storytelling. And one night we were at a bar, had a few too many, and we're like, you know what? We love space games.
One night.
Well, for one particular night, we were talking about But yeah, it's great. We just
I think the point of the one night story was the end of the sentence, not the.
yeah, right. Yeah, many long conversations, but one we just said, we love space games, we love classic science fiction literature, and we found we liked a lot of the same stuff: Starship Troopers, Battlestar Galactica, that type of stuff. And I just said, why don't we make a game? Like that would be fun. Totally naive, totally didn't know what would go into it, and then that's kind of how we got into the game space. I'd say Jeff we started iterating over stories, and he would send me this document back and forth, and it was 10 pages, then 15 pages, then 100 pages, then 500 pages. And eventually we just said, look, we've got enough in this. Let's start trying to build it. And we went and hired a couple artists, and the rest is history after that.
That's awesome.
Thomas, who's here with us, is one of our game developers. Jeff works actively on the project. And there's two guys back in sunny Winnipeg, artists.
Sunny
Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I think it's like negative 100 there right now or something.
But sunny, no.
right. But yeah, it's we do primarily professional consulting, Fortune 500 companies, startups. We do app consulting. We do game consulting.
Yeah.
We have probably 4 or 5 game developers in the company. A couple of our senior lead engineers have experience building games, and so
it's really interesting. I've seen a lot of that crossover in like the app agency space or the app consulting space. There's a lot of like game talent in that as well too, right? Because there's a lot of complex problems that solved in games, right? And it kind of translates well.
Games take a lot to build. I mean, if someone wants to go and build an app, they can spend a couple months and get something out. A really polished game, you're thinking in years, or at least 7 to 8 months, closer to a year, just to get something polished, even a 2D game. And so we kept running into we want to do this, but it's going to take a while. And I think every game developer runs into, how do I pay the bills? And it's like mobile is so constrained. I mean, to build something on iOS, there's so many things you've got to keep going that issues you run into with apps and games. It's like memory performance and frame rate and stuff like that. So I think you're just seeing game developers.
At least we have ARC now, right?
Yeah, right. That's every time someone says that, we just kind of cringe and go, "Yeah, who are you working for? Okay, what's your contact in that company? We'll give them a call in 6 months." But yeah, I mean, so we're kind of high-end professional consulting. That's most people know us as consultants to these Fortune 500 companies, but we wanted to do something fun and totally different, and really get into storytelling, and games are just a natural evolution into that. And so I would say our game is more story rich than it needs to be, but that's how we wanted it to be.
Gotcha.
We got into the characters, and that's really where I come into it. I'm not a traditional gamer, whereas these guys, there's whatever the new game is, they're playing it, they're doing that stuff, and I just like telling stories. So I was like, okay, well, we have characters, we'll have a universe, and those people have to go somewhere, and they have to do things, and so it was just kind of a nice distraction, and it just kind of built up steam over time. And
it's awesome. It's cool whenever it's when it comes together like organically out of passion. You know what I mean? As opposed to, here's the thing we have to go do. It's like, hey, we all want to do this. It's like, let's just dive in and do it, right?
And that's what we run into is it's kind of, what Thomas will say is like, I've got my 8-hour job where it's like he'll go and consult for, a big media company that I can't name. He'll go and work on a consulting project for that, and then at night, 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, he's on in the Republic Sniper channel, just, okay, I did this, and I did this, and it's like, Thomas, you need to go to bed, and he's like, go away. Like, this is what I waited for.
Like,
this is
for
the whole day.
Have you seen my beard?
So it's just the guys that are working on this, it's just they pour everything into it. It's what they're excited about, it's what they're into, and it's a great release for Jeff and Thomas to just say, okay, I've got a stressful client, crazy deadline, now I'm going to come and have some fun. And so it's
wonderful client.
Well, they're all wonderful clients. But the Republic Sniper project is kind of a fun project that they can get into and just enjoy themselves and be creative and
express that creativity.
Whereas our projects are generally top down. Jeff or I or one of our other founders will come in and say, no, this is the way we're going to do it. This is the way the client dictates it. In the Republic Sniper project, everybody kind of has a voice. There's no one coming in dictating everything. If Thomas has got a good idea, we'll let him run with it.
From a morale standpoint, I think it's really important to have projects in-house, because we also have other non-game
Yeah, a
in-house
ton of
products.
products
It's
to
really
do.
important to have, I think, stuff that we can do where we have some control, some ownership,
Yeah.
where we're using these skills that we spend a lot of time
Right.
developing and using them for things that we have some ownership over. And I think it's tremendous for morale for people to be able to
Oh,
roll off
yeah.
a contracting project and spend some time on an internal project. So
And
that
externally for the company, it helps us too. The other half of
Yeah.
it is we so often with clients, what you build is dictated by what they decide, the decisions they want. And we have this amazing team, and we're constantly telling people this is a great team, but people want to see something. A client coming in wants to see something. So when we point to a game or a product that we developed, we're like, if you left us alone and let us just do what we say you should do, this is how it could come out. Like
Yeah.
this is how good it could be. And it's really powerful marketing for us.
That's
as well.
awesome.
So it's great, internal, external.
It serves like a lot of really great purposes, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but this is fueled by lost evenings with family and stuff like that, where these guys are just pounding away because I've got to get it done. I'm so close, or I want to show the team the next day. Look at this thing. Look where I got, pushing it. So
it's kind of like our Epic Fridays around here. There's the opportunity for a lot of our developers. Most of the company, I think, participates where we have a Friday of the month where it's like, just go work on something awesome,
Yeah.
and then we'll have like a little forum downstairs where if you have something really great to show, bring it. And some of the coolest little features end up in the engine. It's like I built this thing.
Yeah.
It's like let's add that. That's amazing. Can you show me how you did it? Let's really see how that works. And it
reminds me of a story that we hear. We have really close relations with Apple, and some of our guys used to work with Apple, and the story of OS 10 Leopard where they had to pause because they were doing the Intel switch during Tiger, and so they had to freeze engineering for 6 months where they couldn't do stuff. So they went to their entire engineering team and said, okay, pick a feature and it's going to be added in the new OS and just work on it and pitch us on this, and you're going to get to work on it in isolation because we have to freeze engineering. And like Photo Booth came out of that.
wow.
The Spotlight help where you can type in, it'll highlight stuff. Like there's so many fun little features that got baked into the OS just because they had available time. So that's kind of how we see Republic Sniper. So it's taken us a while. We're taking our time. We want to do things right. You get to a certain point and you're like, well, that's not right. We need to rebuild it. And so there's a lot of that, but it's just there's a lot of excitement around it. So
yeah, totally. I just watching some of the screens and where you guys are taking it. We talked about this a little earlier too, but like you're doing a lot of white boxing out of a lot of the different spots of it now. And I was like, that's a lot of the way that we work here. It's kind of feel out the space, understand some of the mechanical parts of it, and then go in and do most of the cosmetics.
Yeah, and it's funny, it took us a while to sort of figure out that we needed to do that on the technical side.
Yeah.
Our early works where we pick a level, we take it to polish, and then be like, oh, this isn't really right. We need to do something different for the story or for the game mechanics.
Thomas took us to school. Like the first time he joined the project, he was like, no,
you
don't do it this way. You gotta.
But which is funny though, because on the story side of it, when Rob is right, we literally started working on this story when the company was maybe a year old, and we've got hundreds and hundreds of pages of history, character bios, scripts, and it was a very iterative process, and we didn't apply that to the technical side at first, and it was kind of funny that we didn't. In hindsight, it was like, oh well, that's obvious. We should have done it that way from the start.
But the great thing now is we have this rich environment that Republic Sniper is hopefully the first of many games that we can build inside of this universe.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It's kind of like a lead-in story. So
cool.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. So I know we had a project and y'all had some other things we want to talk about. So like that's how you got to Republic Sniper. Where was it at the beginning? Like, and where are we now? Like, I mean, because it's been in development for a little bit, right? Like
over a year.
We started. We had the pre-development of the story development, and it's actually started as a different game, and we kept the universe and whatever. But the sort of real production has been maybe 18 months. But then we switched.
Switch tools.
We switched tools to Unreal.
Might have heard about that.
Actually, we made the decision. We made the decision after WWDC. I went to WWDC, and I actually had Unreal loaded on my laptop. And one of the ideas was I was going to figure out if we could do this, if it was worth making the switch. And so I spent a lot of my mornings out there, sitting in my hotel room playing with Unreal Engine. And then we decided, after that week that we needed to make the switch.
Was this the GDC that Josh gave the talk?
This was
I'm sorry,
would
not
have been
GDC,
it would have been the
WWDC.
WWDC after, probably.
Okay, yeah.
It was just this last year. It was 2014.
We showed off the Epic Zen Garden.
Yes, that was jaw dropping. That was
Well, and
fantastic.
he's telling us, like, as an owner of the company, I'm sitting there and he comes back and he's like, yeah, I'm thinking about switching. We're sitting there going, why would you do that? That's not a good idea.
Insane.
And he came back and said, no, we got to make the switch. And what convinced the rest of the owners was our artist, Alex, got a hold of the tools because it was so easy. He just paid for it himself. He said, I'm going to pull it down and I'm going to play with this.
That's so cool,
and he
man.
ported a work in progress level entirely in and basically showed us in less than a month. He came back and was like, here it is. Here's the level in Unreal. And it shut us up. Like all the owners were like, oh, okay, we're not going to lose. That's it. We've already paid the penalty that we're going to lose from.
And these are guys that sort of shut down when they see code. I mean, they don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, when we say artists, we mean artists.
But they don't see Blueprint as code, so they dove right in.
I meet people all the time that are that way. When I first saw Blueprints myself, and I was like, oh, the tech artist is now the most powerful guy in your team. Because he can build stuff and then he can make it work.
I keep trying to tell Patrick that. It's like we had a conversation last night where
tell Patrick now.
We're on the hangout.
Wait, is Patrick on the chat?
Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is he MartianCraft in the chat?
MartianCraft is Alex.
Yeah, MartianCraft is Alex. But they're at, what they told us yesterday is they're over at Alex's house drinking beer
okay.
right now. So.
Awesome.
Hoping nothing falls down.
But I hope they are drinking beer.
All right, yeah. So
we're on a hangout and Patrick's like, hey, can you make this change for me? And I was like, well, let me crack an egg of knowledge for you.
Yeah.
Go ahead and open
crack an egg of knowledge.
Open the blueprint up, take that wire, put it there, change that value to 5.
I think somebody just won a bet.
Yeah, I did. I know,
there was a bet at how old the over-under, I think, was about 5 minutes before you cracked it.
Before you cracked the egg of knowledge, or before you would say crack an egg
of
knowledge?
Yeah, before you would say it. Yeah.
I see. That's actually a little bit better than the dad jokes I was hearing earlier.
Well, it kind of fits that category.
It's fringe dad, but yeah, it's a little more clever than most dad.
Fringe dad is pretty much appropriate for Thomas.
Fringe dad.
Fringe dad.
Well, he does have awesome top knot and a wicked beard, so
yes.
Yeah.
It was Unreal has really given us a much more creative environment to work on it. I mean, we had the original game, we pared it down to Republic Sniper. And then we said, okay, it was really an arcade shooter about a year ago. And then when we switched to Unreal, what we found is a lot of things that we previously thought were going to be hard could be simpler. And so we've developed what we think is an interesting movement mechanic because we had to solve the problem for how's this going to work on an iPad or an iPhone. You can't do a traditional first-person shooter because you can't look and move and shoot. You only have 2 thumbs. You kind of 2 axes of control. And so Unreal kind of allowed us to say, well, we can do movement. And then Thomas came up with I think it's a pretty clever mechanic where we can kind of go in and it's this look-based movement where you've kind of got hot zones around the level. You look at it and you'll kind of move to that area. But while you're moving, you can still shoot and you're free to do all of that stuff.
Yeah, I think the design challenges around the touch interface, especially for like a game that's set in first person, like, people have got to get really clever at making those 2 things merge because first-person shooters, like they've always had very complex, even though they're not seemingly complex, very complex controls when compared to touch.
Yes.
Right? So mouse and keyboard, I have WAS and D, 4 binary inputs that are tactile, and a mouse that's analog does this thing.
Well, you count all the buttons and axes on a like an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller. And there's a lot of them. There's a huge amount. And you don't think about it because it feels very natural, but the touch device is hard. I mean, we did
because you lose tactile motion.
You use all of it.
You have to look at.
Well, when we first were looking at paring it down and trying to change the game from its original concept, we did spent a lot of time prototyping different ideas. What can we do that's going to work really well on touch? And I was convinced we could do sort of the classic first person. There was a way to do it, just nobody had done it yet. I was
that's what we were going to do, the stealth game.
Pretty arrogant in hindsight, but I thought there was a way, and there wasn't. And so then we were going to go to, he was calling it an arcade shooter. We were going to really restrict movement. So you were in like a sniper nest, and so you had, your movement and shooting, but then, you were limited to there might be another spot over that way and one that way, maybe 2 finger swipe. But it was going to be very constrained in your movement. And then, after we were playing with Unreal, Thomas came and said, I think I got an idea that might work.
The worst thing in the world is just like putting your hand over the content area
Yep.
Yeah.
and obscuring
Oh yeah.
all of that view just to touch something.
Yeah.
This is, for me, this is the worst.
Yeah.
This, you keep your fingers out to the edge of the tablet, you know,
Yeah.
and you're looking with one finger and you're firing with the other.
And you were able to mock it up in a day.
Yeah.
The concept and like send it to us. I mean, that's Unreal. It just the programming went so much faster. Like
That's so
it's
great to
just
hear.
it. I feel like as more of a project manager on this, seeing the progress that they were able to make in the 6 months really since we made the decision to leave has been tenfold, if not 100-fold, because
great.
and it wasn't adding developers, it was just what these guys were able to do, particularly the artists, and how
Yeah.
they were able to build things
Well,
out.
and your official training videos are phenomenal. I mean, you know, every time you introduce a new feature and it gets to a point where it's like feature complete, you know, you have Zach or somebody do a video, and they're just great. I mean, it's so easy to learn the new stuff in there that you've never.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing the game AI. I have no background in this. I haven't done it. Your behavior tree stuff. You know, I read through the documentation. I did the quick start, and I'm making characters do stuff. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's all
great.
logic based, visual. You can understand what's trying to happen. Yeah, our learning resources team, they're just a bunch of rock stars, man. I mean, we were talking about Zach and his hair. We'd see Zach cut his hair shorter, and so it's less
Purple.
hot magenta, and yeah, more just lightly hot pink. So
Well, and Alex, when we said that, Alex kind of convinced us. He didn't just port the existing stuff that we had into Unreal. He learned Unreal at the same time, which is what sold us. It's like, okay, not only is this a more powerful tool, it's an easier to learn tool. Someone who doesn't have programming experience or a background was just able to dive in and get it.
Well, and our artists are our, you know, they're our dedicated resources. Our programmers get moved around
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
our contracting stuff, and you know, just seeing how excited they were about the tool and the possibilities
Yeah.
was a huge part of the decision for me, because you know, I felt like there was a visible increase in their excitement, in their morale from switching to the tool. They really felt like they could do anything in this tool, and that was.
I mean, you know how you got like the zone, you get in the zone, you're working and you're like,
Yeah, yeah.
you're locked in, you're phased into whatever it is that you're doing. And I think that Unreal just lets you take the cream right off the top.
yeah,
It's always like right there, like the best part of the workday, first 15 minutes. And you
That's
just
awesome.
got it, and you're just on to the next thing.
yeah. I find that with myself, like I'll be developing, I'll be trying to work through something, and it's almost like playing a really good game, where you're like down, you're like, oh, there's the sun, you know, it's like rising. But yeah, I've got so much done. It's just like everything just for me feels really naturally, just everything moving around.
Yeah, it keeps you in
flows
that
good.
state
Yeah,
of just you're constantly surprising yourself, or
yeah.
you know.
I think the chat message showing us the stuff that Alex had done when he was first exploring it. I think it came to me about 3 a.m. It was timestamped. So you know.
Well, and they were. I think Patrick said we were thinking about the stream we were talking earlier in the week, and Patrick said it's the tool that doesn't crash in their tool chain. I mean, they use ZBrush and Maya and Photoshop and all these other artistic tools, and they're like, Unreal doesn't crash.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, we keep
yeah.
our
Just leave it
we
running
keep
in the
our work
background
out.
and
Yeah.
let it land.
Just go forward.
So we're fanboys.
Oh,
can
that's
tell.
good.
We're
Yeah,
fans,
no,
yeah.
that's awesome. No, it's super cool to hear. Yeah, and I know that in 4.7 we've added some what is it, regressions with Preview 5. So if you're downloading Preview 5, you're probably a little bit less stable than you expect, because we added a couple new features into it. We're like, oh, let's just put those in, and so it's like, yay, regressions. But anyway, those are being handled as well too. So
In
so
terms
that's
of
definitely
like this, you mentioned the preview versions, and our kind of soft policy is that we usually wait a week after you've released
Yeah.
a version before
Yeah.
we start using it.
yeah, and that's actually good practice now. I don't know if you caught our preview version change. It used to be preview versions were almost more like a beta,
No.
Yeah.
and now they're like early access. Like we
Weekly build.
yeah, we ship, and then we branch for the like preview beta, or the preview release for the next version pretty soon afterwards.
Well, and
to
we're
just
trying to.
get feedback as soon as possible.
We're on Macs. We're primarily a Mac shop, except for our artists, who most of their tool chain is in Windows. So
Yeah.
we're trying to make sure we get the most up-to-date Mac tool, because you guys are making a lot of improvements.
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Mac's come a long way since launch. Jeff and I were talking about this earlier on the walk around, but it's like yeah, each individual release. I mean, Yosemite did really great stuff for us, right?
Mhm.
Because it opened up more things to the OpenGL API. Like we were able to stop some of the workarounds we were trying to do to work with some of the weirdness that Apple does, which is it's great. It's really great for Apple. It introduced a few challenges for us, but yeah, so it's getting consistently better, and I think that it's definitely a platform that we're leaning into pretty heavily because I mean, I use a Mac, and a lot of other people around here do too. So cool. So is it working?
We're having a build issue.
We're getting a compiler. I've gotten pretty good about not putting stuff in there that Visual Studio doesn't like because I work primarily on a Mac, and then we sometimes bring it over. But it looks like something I added in the last week.
Do you want to put we can pull the trailer up while he's
yeah, that's totally cool.
On that.
It's going to be on that computer.
Is moving, but no, is moving is.
Pull up a tab. And
That's
pull
not
up the,
me.
pull up
Jeff
the
broke
trailer
the
so we
build
can-
is basically what he's saying.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, open a tab and
I just don't
go
think
to
that's my
YouTube.
file. Though.
oh, we want to run the YouTube one, or Patrick's gonna yell at me later because it's Windows. Oh, everybody's gonna find out I can't type.
I don't think anybody cares.
Should we set this up and tell how this trailer came to be? Because it's kind of a funny story.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I gotta tell this for Patrick's sake. So, before we do that,
Pause it,
let's. If I full screen, is it gonna start now? Okay. So I gave a talk in San Francisco last year about composing music on the Mac, and I wanted to compose something. And I was thinking, well, the Republic Sniper, the game would be the perfect thing for it. So I came to Alex and I said, hey, I want to do something. I want to write some music for a trailer. We're getting close. Let's do something for a trailer. Let's put a trailer. Yeah, this was beginning of last year. I thought we were getting close, and so I said, let's put something together. And Patrick, not knowing me well enough, I guess, was just like, yeah, sure, yeah, we could do that. We could easily put together 30 seconds worth of stuff. And I thought, well, I want 2 minutes. And he's like, okay, yeah, we're not gonna be able to do that. We'll do 30 seconds. And
Because it was like what, 2 weeks?
It was three technically, but yeah, it was about 2.5, 3 weeks.
I think it was 16 days.
Yeah. Patrick he'll put up in the chat.
The exact
he'll say he knows exactly because I
To
don't
the
think
millisecond.
I think he slept about 3 hours in that entire time period. But we wanted to put together a trailer, and it was setting up the motivation for.
You
our
guys are
universe.
dedicated. That's
yeah. So we wanted to set up the universe because we've talked about this big universe, and it all centers around this event where a colony on Mars, an Earth colony on Mars, attacks Earth. And it sets up the base. It sets up the base story for our main character in Republic Sniper. It also set up some motivations for our characters in later, games that we want to do. So I said, let's just do this. And he's like, oh yeah, in space that won't be that bad. We won't have as many objects. He's like, I think we could do it. And I basically just kept asking for more.
your grin is just.
And
I've been on the other end of the
Yeah, right,
part
right.
where he thinks it's no big deal, and it's like,
yeah,
oh my god.
Well, it's one of those they freak out, and I'm like, okay, just give me 10% then, and then the next day ask for 10%.
I should
more,
mention
and
that
then
at this
more.
point we didn't actually even have the ships designed.
Yeah, we had no ships.
Okay, so this is really fresh.
This
Yeah.
is really fresh. There's a lot of cool things in this that Patrick did to kind of shortcut some things, but not really do shortcuts. He actually took the Blue Marble satellite data and mapped it into a full 3D model. He also had full atmospheres and different cloud patterns. So all of the hero shots you see of Earth are very, very high resolution. I think he started with a 10K texture or something ridiculous. He did the same for Mars. Because we knew we were going to do a lot of beauty shots where there'd be dialogue in between them. And but yeah, in the opening you'll see a graveyard of ships, and it's just a model he downloaded online, and he just blew up and sent him a 4D. And then because he was like, well, we don't have the ships, and I'm like, nobody's gonna care. No one's gonna go in and piece it back together. And there's a lot of fun stuff. So it
People are
represents
trying to
about-
follow the thing back. It's like something's not right.
Yeah,
here.
right. And so it was great. I was writing the music at the same time too. So we actually had to build a cut in about 2 days of what we wanted to do, and then he was going to go and render all the shots out, and then. And this thing was just done so quickly. I'm actually flying to the conference in San Francisco, and I did the final edit, on my laptop in
nice.
Final Cut Pro, with the music. I'm balancing stuff, and
And this is how long ago?
But a year.
This was a year ago. This was
year ago.
January 2014.
Okay.
So it's a trailer. It's a good introduction to the game, and it gives Tom some time to work on it. So go ahead and roll there.
I don't.
And this is rendered in. Y'all built this is this After Effects or?
It's a mixture of After
Living in
Effects,
the
Cinema
void between
4D.
Okay.
Earth and Mars.
I should clarify.
War
This is not
rages.
in engine.
This is
Not in
in
engine.
War with
no.
the
This was actually before we made
This
the
is
switch.
pre-Unreal.
Yeah, this is before you even started building the game, or?
We had a arcade shooter prototype.
didn't
Gotcha. Oh,
start
that's
the
right.
war.
We were
Okay.
building in another tool.
No.
Cool.
Shout out, we
We
did.
were attacked.
Yeah, this is kind of your. Oh yeah, that's super cool. I love that right there. That when I
We
first
formed
saw
a
that, it
colony
reminded me of
on
some of
Mars
the old
100 years ago.
50s space movies.
We
You know,
sent
This
soldiers,
Island Earth.
Yeah, the Made by
explorers,
MartianCraft
then
logo
criminals.
came out of. We really wanted to do like a film noir
When they
aesthetic
declared
for
independence,
the website,
we
and a lot of
ignored
early
them.
versions, like the main page on the site,
when
still
they
has that
developed
aesthetic.
weapons, we
And after
ignored
a
them.
merger with another company at the beginning of last year, we kind of adapted the style a little bit. But this Made by MartianCraft kind of stuck. We wanted kind of this like almost like Made in the USA
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
craftsman logo, and our creative director kind of came up with this image, and it's Mars. It's actually not the moon behind it, but we kind of took black and white. And then one of our designers, Carol, really loved film noir, and it's kind of her default style.
Yeah.
So she was showing us a concept, and she did it, and we all loved it. She's like, "Oh, my professors in art school always said, I needed to add color, I needed to do other things, but we love the aesthetic so much that
Yeah.
we stuck with it." So I love this trailer because it was done entirely in the company. Like, to me, it's a definition of who we are. Like,
Yeah.
this is exactly what we do. We do everything in house. All the graphics was done by Patrick. All of the
90 gigs, 90 gigs of texture data.
Oh, this is where I first found the
That's
photo.
two, by
it
the
was
way.
actually
Wait, what is this?
all right. The third from the top is Jeff.
And Patrick, our artist, he took that picture and turned me into the Emperor from
It
Star
broke
Wars.
It's fantastic.
That
It's
is
so
so
If he didn't need it
funny.
for his job, I would take Photoshop away from that kid.
Yeah, the MartianCraft Twitch has said 90 gigs of texture data.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
my goodness.
Yeah, it was. It was insane. He actually built.
That's a lot of
node.
textures.
He built a node-based computer.
He built a render farm for
Yeah,
this.
basically a render farm. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to
Wow.
say. Because he came. I mean, I was telling you earlier during lunch. They come from the film world.
Film world, yeah.
So I mean, we usually have to tell them, okay, we don't have that many polygons on the mobile device.
Yeah.
But we've actually
Like, just pare it down.
yeah,
understand.
we've debated doing, saying well, let's do a PC release for the game as well, so that we can show off these
yeah.
high resolution textures and models. So I can fill a little bit while they're trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
It's giving us
sure.
an error on a class that doesn't exist. I'm not sure what's
Oh,
going
it's
on.
right there.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Okay, there it is.
That's not a class.
No.
What the hell is it?
Only we had an engineer in the building that could.
If only we were at the place where they make it.
I know. I don't know what that is or why it's
Yeah.
included in the project file. Maybe when
Yeah.
it generated
Do
the
you
visual.
guys know anybody that works on Unreal Engine? I don't.
Well, here we can pull up the screenshot.
I hear they're nice, but
Yeah.
Here, just flip out a full
So no.
screen real quick, and then we
I
can.
know.
They can at least look at the.
That guy with the beard and
screenshots.
glasses is pretty obnoxious. Whatever his name is.
Yeah, so
Cool.
we
So yeah,
we created a forum post here where people can look at.
yeah. This just went
Uh,
up like today, right?
Yeah.
it did. But it
yeah.
actually accumulates a bunch of our. I was doing the screenshot Saturday postings as separate forum threads, and my guys kind of took me to task for that. I said, now you got to have it
Yeah.
in one thread for everybody.
Yeah.
So they went and reposted a bunch of my stuff in this one thread. So there's a bunch of stuff. This is concept art for one of the later levels.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so we're kind of going through. I mean, we don't want to talk too much about some of these levels because it gets into the story that
Yep.
we want to kind of reveal. But yeah, you could kind of see the paint overs that Alex would do, and then the block outs below that where they would go
Yeah.
in and texture this stuff out. I mean, a lot of this rock work they're doing in Unreal. I mean, they're not even
Okay.
doing it in a separate model.
Are you using terrain?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all landscape tools.
Okay.
Outer parts of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, the general process is we start out with BSPs, landscape, terrains, basically whatever you want to put in there, just
Yeah.
to figure out what the shape of the flow of the level's got to be, and then a second pass where Alex, the artist, goes and just starts taking pictures throughout the scene, and then does paint overs in Photoshop.
Cool.
And then we take those and then start to componentize.
So you're
the
kind of concept arting in engine and like
Yeah.
back and forth iterating between those.
Yep.
two.
And that's what we're
super cool.
saying. Like the power of the tools for the artists
Yeah.
is that they're really using the tool not just for final production.
Yeah.
Well, you talk to them and they'll say, well, I want to use Marmoset to capture out of Maya for this scene element, this
Yeah.
corner of the scene or whatever. Well, why do you want to do a final render of that? Well,
Yeah.
because I want it to look nice when I start the paint over.
Yeah.
Well, just use UE. Just turn on all of the filters in UE. I mean, I know that
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
those aren't going to work on mobile. That doesn't matter. You just wanted something
Yeah.
to keep the inspiration
Yep.
up for the paint over. That's part of that. The keeping the cream.
Yep.
That first 15 minutes of cream. That's what that's what I'm talking about.
That's awesome.
And so Alex is basically our concept artist, and he does a lot of the poly modeling and that.
Does
type
most of
stuff.
our high poly work, whether
Yeah.
it's character or architecture.
So he does both character and
He does.
architecture.
He's very multi-talented.
So he is
Yeah.
one of those unicorns because man, character people are like usually so hyper specific and so hard to find. Like character artists is like that's what you do because characters are so hard.
Yeah.
And people have that range. That's
Oh, and he
really
can knock him. I mean, it's kind of fun to watch him in ZBrush because I mean he can knock out a maquette in an hour.
So we'll
It's just
have
amazing. It's just
we'll have a turret that Alex will put together, and this is kind of what he'll create.
Nice.
And then Patrick will take that model and then go in and texture. And
Do
so
all
when we
that.
say
Very
Alex,
to
will
the
take
normal
all that.
bake, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean it's
Get it into the engine.
And now is this an engine?
This is
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
This is an engine.
Yeah. It looks nice and soft, right? Like it doesn't feel too super shiny or
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Really
where
cool.
I think Patrick focusing. It seems like you have a dedicated person for textures, but he really enjoys just going in and sweating those tiny details. So
Yeah.
it's almost like having somebody that will take it to the point that's worth the original model that
Yep.
Alex is going to create.
Oh,
He's got a really cool process too. He's using Substance Designer
Yep.
and Substance Painter.
Are y'all using the plugin with it too, or like? Because I know Algorithmic has a UE4 plugin that they host on their site.
I don't honestly know.
He's using it as like the source editor for the
Yeah,
textures.
Got it. So, yeah. So
So he keeps a vector in Designer and then exports out.
yeah, it's just part of his
in scenes.
pipeline. Yeah, for what he's doing, I don't know that it would absolutely be necessary to use the plugin, but that's super cool.
So we have this sort of interesting design dichotomy going between the Republic and the Seditionists. The Seditionists are very make-do, functional, not aesthetic, and of course Republic stuff's supposed to be very clean, very,
Yeah.
So, but also we want it to feel lived in. So this is just a ZBrush model, but when you notice even the Republic stuff has like scuffs around the bottom and stuff
Yeah.
to make it look like it's real, like it's
Yeah,
used.
yeah.
like
It's almost like
back
that bleak feel that you get from good guy, bad guy. Like Star Wars. Even we were talking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
How much we love
Yeah,
that. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, especially for the first game, I think we really wanted to draw a line and say Seditionists are bad guys, Republic's good guys. And that
Yeah.
line may get blurred as we move along,
Right,
but
right,
I think it's
yeah.
kind of important early on to draw that distinction because.
Yep.
Well, and that's why our main character is really coming from that Republic perspective. The attack that we showed earlier in the trailer, Lily, the main character, is really, her grandma was an admiral. She gets killed. And so she kind of has this almost revenge motive where she wants to go and, bring the war to an end. And we wanted that strong Republic perspective so that our viewers over time will be sympathetic to the Republic. Like we want the Republic to be the good guys.
Yeah.
And then later we can play with that and mess with
Oh,
it,
yeah.
in different ways. So a lot of neat stuff we have planned. This was an example of the scuff marks that Jeff was talking about before. And
Yeah.
the level we've been working on, and this is what we're kind of working on for GDC, is a hangar level. Our main character is attached to a ship called the Oberon. It's a marine transport. It's kind of a troop holder,
Okay.
orbiting Mars. And at some point it comes under attack, and seditionist forces are trying to board. And so a lot of this stuff, a lot of the scatter on this is, you're kind of dropped in the middle of a firefight. And our main character kind of just happens to be at the right place at the right time with a weapon. And so she comes in, and can hang out along these catwalks. And
One of the
sniper
brilliant features
troops.
here in the engine I just want to throw in here is these abilities to have sub levels, layers essentially. So all of our debris and our combat scenario stuff can be just taken out of the hangar just by turning off the visibility on that one.
yeah, so do we have something for the basement? Yeah, this photograph, which is just a much lower resolution, lower fidelity, but it's actually in the basement of that level. It sits below it. So
And this is still very early block out on this one.
yeah,
And,
and so the hangar is very, very, very huge.
I love
So
how
it's-
you have the default material with your logo built into it.
that was Thomas, right? Yeah, that was you. Like,
That was my idea. Alex did it.
because I mean, the artist needed something. They can't say, well, what do we do for a block out? We need something with some type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
drawing, and so
Well, I think if you're gonna share pre-release stuff, you really need some kind of visual indicator. Say, hey,
Do
this
we have
thing's
one
not
that
done
shows-
Yeah, yeah.
I guess that's the corridor that goes down to the basement.
Well, yeah, and
No,
a lot of our BSP
stair
stuff.
hub over there.
So
Yeah, I
and
don't
then
think we
there's
have
an
an
elevator
angle.
nearby.
I don't think we have an angle that shows
Yeah, that
it.
one.
That's
that
the
one
stairs
does.
there.
That one-
Oh no, that's not.
No, that's
the
oh
lower.
no, that's the cargo lifter.
All right, so
we
you
don't have the
right,
stair hub.
there's right there. There's these holes.
You can see down into.
Yeah,
you can
those-
kind of see into it.
those
but
are like
yeah,
access
There's actually
shafts.
so there's a sub level to this part, and where you actually start in the hangar is in the basement.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so there's like the maintenance bays down below. So there's elevators that take the fighters down.
Yeah, so the ship is huge, and so the big challenge here is it's like you build a big ship. I mean, when we first started building the training level, and the training level actually has a gun range on it, and it's like, well, if it's sniper gun range, it's got to be 800
Long.
kilometers.
Yeah.
Or,
It's
we're
not quite that large.
Well, I mean 800 meters, not kilometers. Good gracious.
800 kilometers.
That's big. But it's like,
That's
yeah,
big.
it's,
What are
Big
you
ship.
sniping across the nation?
yeah, right. So it was, yeah, we
Spaceballs.
first built it.
What kind of
and-
republic is this?
Yeah. And I was like, I think when Patrick first looked at it, he's like, holy crap, how are we going to texture all of that? And like, then you've got to put it on a device. And so there was a lot of early just trying to figure out how we would get the textures in, how we build that stuff. and then-
Constrain the tech and then figure out where your
Yeah.
boundaries are.
Yeah.
and then-
Yeah, I mean, we've been very pie in the sky on a lot of this stuff. And it's like, can we push the device, a mobile device, to let us do a big open? Because normally, you chop up your layers into the parts that you can see. Well, on several of our layers or several of our levels, you can see a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking even in this span, that's a 150 meter span that you would say,
Well,
right?
I think it's, and Alex can correct me. I think it's 5,000 units from edge to edge.
Yeah, it's a huge level.
It's
And
not tiny.
No,
and
it's
when you talk
massive.
about eking performance, I mean, that's part of the reason we're trying to push that is that's what we do. Like, if a client hires us to do an app or a
Yeah.
game, they're hiring us because, okay, we've tried this with lesser talent, or we know we have a hard problem, and that's what we know. That's what we're really
Yeah,
bringing.
yeah.
We're learning some of the game stuff, but we know what the device can do. And we
Right.
know what it's capable of. So it's just
And you've kind of got a good understanding of like loading assets, like the RAM, especially mobile. I've worked at mobile before, and it's like fighting for that RAM space or draw calls. You're just like, those are the two things. You're like, just
I never
every
wanna-
tiny little thing.
And that's a lot of that has actually become stuff we don't have to think about so much because you've got a bunch of people here. We're paying $19.90 a month who are
Right,
just
right.
slaving away and doing the hard work for us,
Figure
which
it
is
out for
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Well,
great.
yeah, or I've been until yesterday. I'd been building to an iPad 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
An iPad 3?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I got an Air 2 yesterday.
My terrible projects I don't even build to the iPad 3 anymore.
I got the Air 2.
I'm scared
and
of them.
I dropped it on there, and it was like
So this is
console quality, frame rate,
Yeah, man.
effects, everything. It was so wonderful.
Yeah, this is beautiful here.
And this is what we call our art project. This is where we took our existing model back when we were like taking them before we were doing the blockout approach and just ported it straight to the engine and just what it looks like in engine.
Now,
so.
have y'all gone through and done any like PBR stuff, like with metal mass? I don't know. I guess it'd be a better question for the artist, but I don't know if y'all have done any of the breaking out from diffuse, specular, and bump maps to actually
They have
leverage.
the shader that they built.
Uh huh.
I'm not allowed to touch.
Okay.
Everything's
like-
Good, okay,
we've got
cool.
a couple of master shaders and everything's instanced off those, but no, they're adapting a PBR workflow. We're not using spec and
Cool, yeah.
yeah,
You
it's all PBR.
Yeah, some of the things that people are able to accomplish with that, I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Like the Unreal Paris thing we saw earlier, right? Like
Yeah.
All of the way the metal feels in there, the
Yeah.
way the cloth feels, it's just
I think it's just you just look back even 10, 15 years on
Now,
games and
they're
you look
doing
at this
that.
stuff.
yeah,
With the,
It's just
the
amazing.
reflection and the
that's awesome.
makes my neck sweat every time they turn something like that
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, that's in engine. That's,
well, yeah. I mean, even the earlier shot that we showed was in engine as well.
Yeah.
It's just using much higher resolution assets than some of this. This is where this hangar level is the first one where we've kind of said, okay, let's build beyond the blockouts that we have to show something a little fancier.
I think a lot of a lot of tools that you buy, they promise like this will give you access to that tier of quality
Yeah.
that everybody strives to achieve, and there's just very few of them that deliver the way that this thing, like you put this much work into it and then this much value comes out the other end.
That's awesome. That's one of the things we try to do. It's like, we want to not be the stumbling block for creators. Like we want to make sure we like. So I had the GitHub guys here last week, and there were things that we're talking about was we're trying to bring the future closer. Like you have this project you want to build, and it's this far out. But that's what the future is. Like, how can we bring that closer? And it's like, that actually lines up with a lot of the stuff we do too. It's like, how can we get out of your way and empower you to be creative and efficient?
And it enables a small team like ours. I mean, we're a very, very small team. I mean, there's just not that many people that we have that can work on this. And I feel like what we've been able to accomplish, not just in the space of time, but really the quality of work. And I think that's what,
awesome.
Because whenever we start something inside of MartianCraft, the first thing we ask is like, can this meet our standards for quality?
Yeah.
Like,
Can we do this well?
we don't just want to do a game, we want to do a really good game. And Jeff and I came into this with these AAA aspirations, and it's like, well, you can't account for the budgets that a AAA title has. We're not going to be able to put $60 million on a game and do that type of stuff. But if we work slowly and methodically on it and build it out and just have exacting standards, can we get it there?
And before we switched to UE4, I mean, I really felt like we were making a lot of compromises to to get things done, and so that it worked on the platform, and spent a lot of time writing shaders to try and get stuff the way the artist wanted it to look, but perform well on and I feel like we're now back to feeling like we can do something that it may not have the scope or breadth of a AAA title, but it has the the look, the quality that we can put out something we're proud of, and that's a good feeling.
Yeah, and with that too, I've written any shader language before, and I'm like, my mind explodes, but I can get around the material editor. I have been since UE3 days.
Yeah.
It makes stuff look pretty good, and I'm like, I'm not a rendering guy. We're talking about sort of rendering scares the crap out of me.
I'm more than happy to let your guys write the shaders. Really
or anything like that. I'm a C++, C, Objective-C programmer, and none of that really translates to any kind of shader language.
It's a completely different way of thinking. It really is.
And so being able to come in and work in the material editor has really made me more successful in being able to make things at least look good. Now I can't texture or even create art very well, but once it's in engine, all right, I'll tweak it till I can get it looking well.
Yeah, we get at least, especially me. Thomas is actually an artist in addition to being a programmer. I get a lot of crap for my programmer art. But,
oh yeah, that's right. You were an artist for a while, and you ended up in engineering. Yeah,
I have a degree in fine art.
That's awesome, man. So you're like one of those magical people that can do it all.
Yeah, he's our jack of all trades.
Yeah.
He'll hop from code to Maya or
ZBrush
something.
to
Well,
Moto
you
or
were
whatever.
Jeff's an amateur sculptor as well. So I mean, we all kind of have. I kind of come from a design background. Jeff sculpts. I mean, we all kind of.
That's a common thread. If you know how to
Yeah.
write code on the Mac, you came from somewhere else.
That is actually so true.
Well, it also works the other way because, there's only a few people in our company that have Class 8 computer science or engineering degrees, and one of them's Rob, who's.
I think I'm the only one.
Are you the only one? I think there's.
I think no, I'm the only one of the founders
Well, the
that
founders,
has a
yes.
traditional CS degree, and I'm probably one of 10 in the entire company, and I do the least amount of programming.
Yeah.
It's like I leave it to the other guys. They're better suited for it. But
I think there's a lot to be said for when people are able to do things that they're passionate about, whether that's what their degree is in or not.
And we take advantage of that. I mean, we look for people, and in a good way, sometimes in a bad way, but we try and take advantage of people who really care about this, really want to get on the platform, they want to do cool things, and they want to be around people who care as much as they do about quality.
That passion and that drive, right? Like it's really kind of everything.
And it's infectious even here. When we came a couple of months ago, Thomas and I, we left thinking, wow, these guys are, just us times
They get it.
100,
Yeah.
like,
It's not about doing like something flashy or something big or
Yeah.
It's just doing something well.
yeah.
Just set an objective, set a goal, and do it well.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, the trailer we were showing earlier, I was able to push Patrick because he didn't want to ship something he wasn't happy
Yeah.
with. And so it was like, I will compromise sleep and eating and I don't know what he did. I mean, I probably took measurable years off his life, but you get to the end result and you're happy with it, and even a year later, we're still proud of that trailer and happy to show it to people.
Yeah, given the time span that was created in, it was a phenomenal achievement, and it was really, I wasn't actually involved with it that much. I mean, it was him and Patrick and Alex and just long days, and then it was,
Jeff even made a guest appearance in one of our earlier edits. The soldier at the beginning was actually
it was the third bet.
Yeah, this little this little Gumby. I wish we had that. If I had a way to pull that down, the Gumby.
At least you made me thin.
That is funny. All right, we are at 3:01 now, so we're a little bit past time. But I do have a question from, let's see, Jotski is actually Michael Nolan, one of our engineers here, Paper 2D developer.
Oh, sweet.
And he's working on a lot of our mobile stuff. Not really sure what he's on right now, but he is saying, question, is it real time always or real time when moving the game, but turn-based when aiming, like Valkyrie?
No, it's not turn-based at all.
100% real time.
100% real time.
100% real time, okay. So
If he
much.
wants to,
We
stop by,
basically
we'll
took that fast-paced shooter thing and just wanted to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
You're playing on a mobile device. You're doing a lot of other things. Take your time.
Yeah.
Have fun, but do well at it.
Yeah.
There's games that you lose immediately are no fun.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because like.
Well, for most people.
Yeah, like Super Hexagon. You're like, my high score is 60 seconds. But. Well, that's cool. That's the only one that came in
I'm
here.
really happy with the way it turned out. I think the movement mechanic, I was probably the most skeptical being the UI designer in the group. I was like, I don't know, this sounds weird, but I think it's one when people play with it and they get to try it out, I think it's going to feel natural.
And I don't want to, I'm going to end up with a brown nose, but MartianCraft is awesome because they'll totally let you just take the time to get it right.
Yeah.
There's so many places they don't, like, nah, just stuff it in the box and send it out and it'll be fine,
that's
whatever.
great, yeah.
But with the movement mechanic, because it's so crucial, it's just like, take your time, do it right, do it well.
We won't ship until it's right.
Yeah, and that's smart. That's a lot of the best games have taken a long time.
And we want people to be able to do firefights with this. Like, we want, we think once you get used to it in late levels, we'll be able to do close combat.
Yeah. Well, you can even now. I mean, you can actually do running gun. It's you pick your movement point, and you still have full control of your camera
while you're moving.
You can still shoot. You're not as accurate. You're not generally going to scope in, but it still it works.
I'm sure it feels really good when you pull it off too.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like some of the moments from Bionic Commando, where you, like the original Bionic Commando, where you fire the first hand up and then like mid-air, and then you catch the bottom of the helicopter.
Yeah. Well, cool. All right. Well, that's pretty much all we got for questions, and we're pretty good on time. Unless you guys have anything else you want to add or say.
Well, I just want to thank you for having us down.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
awesome.
Dude, thanks for coming by. It's been a real pleasure having you all in the office today and kicking it with you guys.
It's inspiring just seeing you guys working and knowing that the tools we're using are so much. People have spent so much time.
Dude,
over the
it is
details.
inspiring seeing what people like you guys are creating with the tools. Like that's why that's where I am. Just like that's where I live. I thrive on that. So
Next time we're on the stream, we'll come in early and make sure
and
that
actually get the build
works.
working.
Yeah.
I think it's because we copied it instead of.
We're crashing for
Could
GDC
be.
right now to try and get
Yeah.
something. So
That's totally cool. So
stay tuned.
All right.
I'm actually going to try and throw together just a little sort of level walkthrough kind of thing at some point, a little video just to show some of the stuff that we've been working on since we couldn't show it today. And if I do, I'll post it in that thread.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, Jeff's on the forums, and then MartianCraft Patrick is on the forums now,
Yep.
and you guys are pretty much hanging out other places.
Yeah, Twitter is a great way to get a hold of us,
Yeah.
and certainly we can escalate it from there. If
Yeah,
needed.
Twitter's the spot, really.
Cool, awesome. Well, we will be back next week. We have a support stream on Tuesday. I don't know what the topic is. Let me see if it's posted. It's not posted yet, so I'll have to follow up with Sean after this, but look out for that announcement very soon. And then, yeah, next week we're kicking off the Game Jam, and I don't have a topic for that one either yet, but it's GDC time, so everything's kind of coming in hot. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. We always have such a great time with these. And
Is the monkey going to walk us out?
I don't know. Shelly, is the monkey coming back? All right. I'll get I'll get more comfortable again while I wait.
Just a little.
Oh yeah, real quick too.
Could we have a little monkey?
Alexander said that the the MartianCraft guy, Alex,
Yep.
was in the chat. Yeah, he answered all the questions that were asked.
Oh,
so
okay,
that's
sweet.
why the other thing else came out.
I fully expect him to strangle me later for everything I got wrong. Yeah.
That's great. Well, cool. So thank you, Alex. Thank you, Alexander, on the Epic staff for helping out as well. Monkey here?
Petting the
Yeah,
monkey.
there he is. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks, guys.